Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Debunk. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at Dawn Apart. It is at heart another factory game, and I'm going to give you my impressions on it and see if it's something that you would like. So, jumping right in, if we're looking at when you start a game, you can choose your crew size and your skills gain modifiers and the amount of mining you're able to get out of each little area. And I'll show you that as we move forward, but um, really your workers that you get in this game are kind of like drones. They're really easy to feed. They do need to sleep. But let's take a look at what Steam says. So Steam says Dawn Apart is a space colony and factory sim with fully destructible environments. Mine, automate, and defend your settlers or lead a rebellion against the very corporation pulling your strings. So your goal in this game is to mine and build stuff to send to your corporation. And at its heart, it really is a factory game. I actually wasn't able to play with enemies on just yet. It's highly experimental at the moment. But as you can see, as we look around, it's got this really interesting, um, pixelated look. And you can see everything has its own little levels, which is kind of neat. Now, the game starts us off with some stockpiles. And as you can see on the left, as you're doing things, it does have little video tutorials now, which is neat. So I'm just going to go ahead and follow the tutorial. Now it does have Z levels also. You can build up, you can build down, underground, um, and you can build up pretty high. So that is definitely one of the pros to this game. Not all of these games have that Z level um, capability. And kind of neat also, you build stockpiles to Z levels. Those little yellow things you're seeing there are stockpiles. So those can go up, 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 and the higher they go, the more they can hold of a specific item. As you can see, we pan around here, we've got some of the basics: copper, iron. The pink stuff you're seeing there is kind of like a currency. It's a mineable. And then, as you can see here, the pixelation, the graphics and the immersion that they were able to create by just moving pixels around is really neat. And it's certainly something that I appreciate about this game. And it is what makes it a little bit different. So, just taking a look around, the landscape is actually pretty beautiful. And there is two choices at the moment of sizes of maps that you can do. The bigger factory, I guess, that I've made so far, I've gotten about 15 hours into this game, um, is on the experimental map. So this new game I created, I'll just walk these guys around. You can kind of see how it works. It is like RTS, so moving your characters around, you can just move them and have them do things, or just queue up stuff similarly to other games like this, where you can just say, hey, someone needs to mine such, and someone will go over. And as you can see, the generation makes some pretty cool little landmarks and stuff like that also. So as we go forward, and you can see my later colony that I have, I'll say some of the pros are this for this game are the terrain modification. That is super neat, especially at the Z levels, which is another one of the pros. Um, Going up and down with the building makes for some pretty cool buildings and factories, etc. Right? So having belts on top of belts and using your stockpiles in interesting ways. Um, and I will say another plus to this game is the voxel animations. Um, you have a launch pad that you actually launch materials up to the corporation that you're working for in this game, and it brings down different ships based on how much stuff you're launching up. I think that's super neat. And again, here's a little look. So here's a little house that I made for my people, just for their basic needs. And their basic needs are really easy to meet. So as you see me chopping to the top here, you can see those red things are how they get food. That's the only way they do. And as far as editing buildings, putting stuff up, you can see they have a pretty good Sims similar style for building. Now, this area is building my red chemicals and my green chemicals. And as you can see, the miners are just pulling straight into stockpiles, and I found that using stockpiles in between machines and everything is pretty neat. And you can do interesting things with these stockpiles as far as chaining them together and pulling. You see here, all of my copper is running into the stockpiles, as well as I'm pulling coal into those stockpiles, and then the furnaces are actually able to pull from the entire stockpile from just one little spot, which very is very cool. Makes it a little bit different. As you can see here, I just extended my stockpile um, to when I ran out of ore in that spot. You just move the stockpile. Here is the spaceport where you do have your missions and you're launching stuff off. Currently, I'm working on some ingots here, and as you launch stuff off, you'll get prizes and rewards from them. So here's my toilets, as recommended by my Twitch stream, to have them all facing each other. You'll get rewards such as more people. And here's an example of the stockpiles being up higher. And you do get rewards of guns, stuff like that, for in the future when they do have combat, which they do currently. It says it's highly experimental, though. So, not something I've messed with a whole bunch. So looking back over here, you can see that I have a feeder going into a stockpile, and it is only pulling the stuff that I need. By using this, building the stockpile first, and selecting what you want in there, if you then put a feeder, which is similar to a grabber in other games, pulls off of the belt, then it will only pull into that stockpile what you need as long as you put the stockpile first. So that's very helpful. And as you can see, lots of belt mechanics. Most of the machines put stuff on one side. So you're able to do similar to other games where you have stuff put onto both sides of the belt. So some of the negatives of this game that I've run into, there are no speed settings. That might be a deal breaker for some people. It's not for me. As far as I'm concerned, I can play pretty slow, pretty chill. You know, I'm not in a hurry. I can be doing other things, right? There has been some crashes. I actually didn't have any crashes until about 8 hours in. And I had 2. So not so bad. And I did 3 Twitch streams, about 8 hours each, playing this game. Or 7 hours, 6 hours each, somewhere around there. There is a memory leak, or something similar. So over time, you will have to exit the game and come back in currently, right? This is as of July 27th, 2025. That still is a bit of an issue, but not a big one. And you don't have to exit the whole game. You just go back to the main menu and then load in. And that's what I've got. I highly recommend this game, and if you're wondering if you should pick it up or not, I think I would argue yes. So hopefully this was able to give you some idea of what you were looking at, and give you an idea if it's a game that you would like. Thanks, I'm Debunk, and looking forward to doing more of these.